Hey folks, am I audible? Give me a yes in the chat if I'm audible. Hello? Awesome, awesome, awesome. How are you guys? How are you guys doing? Awesome, Vinay. Nice, nice, nice. Give me a yes in the chat if I am audible, completely audible to all of you guys. Oh, wow. I see a lot of messages. Amazing, 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 amazing. Hey Divyansh, hey Pankaj, hey Ninja Hatodi, hey Sudarshan, hey Shubham. संडे को सुबह सुबह लोग पीआरडी लिखने के लिए आ रहे हैं. सोचो प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर की लाइफ कैसी है. हे मयंक, हाय, हाउ आर यू? थैंक यू, थैंक यू. आई एम डूइंग ओके, आई एम डूइंग ओके. मैं बोल रहा हूँ संडे मॉर्निंग को पीपल कमिंग टू राइट हाउ टू राइट अ कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव पीआरडी, इससे ज्यादा डेडिकेशन क्या है? देयर इज नो मोर डेडिकेशन देन दिस. बट वील स्टार्ट इन लाइक वन मोर मिनट. अब 11 ही बजे. वी विल स्टार्ट इन अनदर लाइक हाय विनीशास, हे, वी विल स्टार्ट इन अनदर 2-3 मिनट्स. तब तक मुझे बताओ क्या चल रहा है आज. संडे का क्या प्लान्स है? व्हाट प्लान्स फॉर संडे? Who is going to watch some movies? Who is going to do something? I'm doing okay, Shubham. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I'm doing okay. Awesome. Oh, I see 50 people in the live. Amazing. Amazing. मेरे को लगता है कि पीआरडी की इतनी रिक्वायरमेंट कंपनी में नहीं होती है. People don't realize the requirement of a PRD this much in a company. That much more than that, people are coming on a Sunday to attend a live on which how to write a great PRD. But anyways, that's okay. So just wait for one more minute and we will quickly start. Everybody can see my screen. There is a slide which is where it's written write a comprehensive PRD. Hey Gaurav, hi, how are you? Awesome, awesome, awesome. बहुत सही, बहुत सही, बहुत सही. Everybody can see this slide writing a comprehensive PRD. Give me a yes in the chat. Amazing, amazing, amazing. बहुत सही, बहुत सही. ठीक है, go folks. So let us quickly start. ठीक है? So I'm starting the session. Most people will join. Share the link with as many people. Please like the video as much as you can. That will be super, super lovely because I want this to reach out to all the aspiring folks and everybody should be able to. Yes, we will talk about the BRD and PRD difference and everything we will talk about. Awesome. So, first of all, let's talk about, देखो, even before we talk about a PRD, a BRD, a DRD, a FRD, जो भी है ये सब, सबसे पहले what you need to understand it, what is an entity, right? So business and product are two entities. One is business, second is product. A business is like maths, right? Like 3 in itself, 3 ka number in itself has no value, right? But 3 cars, basically you can count 1, 2, 3, right? So business is similarly like that, is an entity which does not exist in the real world, but it starts having value when you tie it to a product, right? Like for example, if a product is there in which you have to spend $10 and you get a return of like $20, that is something that you call as a business, right? Like for example, you spend $10 on Swiggy and you get an order. The cost is whatever. The Swiggy wala people in their product, they would see that a person has paid 500 rupees, 400 rupees is the cost of the order, and eventually you get a profit of $100. Sorry, 100 rupees, whatever it is. So business is an entity which only exists when product exists alongside it. Like for example, Clear Trip, अगर product होता ही नहीं, for example, how will they make revenue? So business is an entity which eventually follows this math that revenue minus cost is equal to profit, and it can only happen when the product simultaneously exists. If there is no product, business कैसे exist करेगा? Does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat. I need everybody to tell me that where they are understanding what I'm trying to say. So business can only exist when simultaneously product as an entity will exist. Is this clear to all of you guys? Give me a yes in the chat. Amazing, amazing. So a business always tries to make itself self-sustainable. self-sustainable. What I mean by sustainable is that if there is a business which does not generate a profit, it would need outside funds. You see a lot of startups raising money. Why? Because they are a business, but they are not a sustainable business. A sustainable business always is revenue minus cost is equal to positive profit. Where it's a positive profit, you say, yaar, business bootstrapped hai. You talk about this and you say a business is bootstrapped, which can support on itself, right? So if profit is not there, funds are needed to ensure that this equation is met for the business to be sustainable. ये भी बात समझ में आई कि हाँ, एक business को profit चाहिए in order to sustain itself. If profit is not there, then there is a problem. Then you need to raise funds so that you can support it till a point that the business starts generating profit. Does that make sense? Give me a yes in the chat. यहां तक बात समझ में आई? So पहली बात क्लियर हो गया. Business can only exist when a product exists alongside it. Amazing. Awesome. ठीक है. Now the next part is product as an entity. Product is a living entity, like an app. It's a living entity. You interact with it. It's not like business, which only exists because the product exists. So think of a product as a living entity, which follows the equation that a product में जो भी engagement हो रहा है, any engagement in the product should aid to the sustainability of a business. For example, let's assume you start thinking of Clear Trip and you want to eventually buy a plane ticket from Chandigarh to, let's assume, Bangalore, for example, right? Now you go to the product, you open the app. So it's a real entity, you can interact with it. You select a flight ticket and you eventually make a payment. You actually did an action. You actually went to a flight, clicked on the right flight, and you eventually went through a user journey, right? Which eventually led to the business becoming sustainable, business growing revenue. So product is an entity which exists by sustainable engagement in the app. Sustainable engagement का मतलब क्या होता है? The engagement that the product manager wants. So necessary engagement on the product side which creates service value for the end user. Value क्या थी? तुम्हारी टिकट खरीदना. So a person who purchases a ticket is basically the value, which leads to growth of a metric. What is the metric? The metric is basically you buying a plane ticket or number of users who buying a plane ticket, which eventually aids or propels the business. यहां तक बात समझ में आई? So what you have to eventually do is that you have to aid any engagement in the product, any effort. Like if Flipkart में जाके लोग खरीदे नहीं, if people don't buy on Flipkart and eventually just sign up, will it propel the business? Give me a yes or no. It will not. Give me a yes or no. If people just go to Flipkart's website and don't purchase anything and only just sign up, will it propel the business? Give me a yes or no. Obviously, right? So it will not propel the business. So a product is an entity जहां पे necessary engagement होता है, which propels the business equation. What is the business equation? Revenue minus cost is equal to profit. So a business and product have to work hand in hand to support a value-driven service. So business is not a real entity. It only exists when the product exists. Any engagement in the product should propel the business equation of revenue minus cost is equal to profit. So any action in the product should lead to a service value, which basically creates this differentiation. Basically, revenue minus cost is equal to profit, and they should exist hand in hand. So all of the product managers in the world, they try to figure out what action should be done on the app so that people eventually propel the business equation of revenue minus cost is equal to profit. कि कोई भी ऐसा एक्शन ऐप पे कराना जिससे ये बिजनेस की इक्वेशन प्रोपेल नहीं होती does not make any sense. Make sense? So all the product managers would try to make features which sustain this equation, revenue minus cost is equal to profit. यहां तक बात समझ में आई? Give me a yes or no. You're clear till here? क्या यार बता दो यार मुझे, आज तो ऐसे कर रहे हो. Absolutely, it will be considered an activation failure. Absolutely, awesome. So यहां तक बात तो दो एंटिटीज है. बिजनेस है वो तभी एग्जिस्ट करेगी जब प्रोडक्ट एग्जिस्ट करेगा, और प्रोडक्ट तभी एग्जिस्ट करेगा व्हेन इट हैज अ नेसेसरी एक्शन व्हिच गिव्स यूजर्स वैल्यू. नाउ देयर आर 4 टाइप्स ऑफ डॉक्यूमेंट्स. द फर्स्ट डॉक्यूमेंट इज कॉल्ड अ प्रोडक्ट रिक्वायरमेंट डॉक्यूमेंट. Second document is called a business requirement document. Third document is called a functional requirement document. कभी कभी तो मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि अपुनिज भगवान है कि इसके आगे कोई भी ABCD लगा दो और RD लिख दो तो वो डॉक्यूमेंट बन जाएगा. So there are four types of major documents: a product requirement document, a second is a business requirement document, third is a functional requirement document, and fourth is a design requirement document. ये बात समझ में आई? There are four types of documents. Everybody is clear here that there are product requirement document, business requirement document, functional requirement document, and we will talk about it. Don't worry, we will talk about it, what they exactly mean. So we will start with the business requirement document. Now, what does a business requirement document totally mean? Break down these words. Business requires something. That's a business requirement document. That it's a document written by the business guys so that they can implement something, some feature, something which propels the business equation. What is the business equation? Revenue minus cost is equal to profit, right? It's a document written by the business guys, the marketing guys, the sales guys, the operations guys, and this is a document that they eventually want to write which can propel the business equation. So who is the value receiver here? It's the business which is the value receiver. So for example, I am a sales guy and I want a feature to be implemented because it will help me generate more sales, right? So I am the value receiver. So this is the document that I will write, which I will give to the product guys and say that if you implement this feature, I will be able to generate revenue of $1 million, right? So here, who is the value receiver? Can you tell me who the person who writes the document is? The value receiver. Business is the value receiver who writes the business requirement document. Give me a yes or no if you understood who is the value receiver. किसके लिए काम हो रहा है? Business के लिए हो रहा है, right? And who is the value generator here? Who is the value generator? It's the product which is the value generator here, because the product team will eventually generate that, build that feature, and business will be able to sell that feature. Give me a yes or no. Who is the value generator here? Value generator है product, but value receiver कौन है? Value receiver is business. Yes, correct. So a product is the value generator who will so what should be the part of this document? I told you, business का मतलब product नहीं होता. The value of the document would be that I will write a certain document which will tell that it should propel the business equation. So any document should be written in terms of revenue minus cost is equal to profit. So what can be a typical document? Like you see a typical BRD here to implement a chatbot feature, which is not, it's just a suggestion. So on the website to convert more leads and improve the conversion from 5% to 7%. So in a business requirement document, because product is so Pankaj, product is a value generator because they are implementing the feature. They are eventually going to make that across, right? Business value फीचर किसके लिए बन रहा है? बिजनेस के लिए बन रहा है, लेकिन बना कौन रहा है? प्रोडक्ट बना रहा है. सो प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर इज द वैल्यू जनरेटर हु वुड इवेंचुअली डेवलप द फीचर एंड गिव द वैल्यू टू द बिजनेस हु इज द वैल्यू रिसीवर. सो व्हाट शुड बी द actual objective statement of this BRD? It should be in lines of the business equation which I have told, that is revenue minus cost is equal to profit. So everybody will write like this: to implement a chatbot feature which will convert more leads so that my revenue can grow from $1 million to $10 million. Ops is a business generating entity, na? Ops, sales, marketing, all are business generating entities, right? So that is customer होना चाहिए. Pankaj, we'll talk about it. Let me just cover this across. So a business objective would be that to implement a chatbot feature on the website to convert more leads in the sign up process, to grow the conversion from 5% to 7%. Or basically what I mean is the paid conversion from 5% to 7%. So any business requirement document का objective हमेशा business lines पे होगा. Like the business objective to implement a chatbot feature on the website to convert more leads in the sign up process from 5% to 7%. And this is the core objective. Or objective एक line का होना चाहिए. It should just be a one line objective in which people understand that we want to drive the paid conversion from 5% to 7%. Now, once the objective is written in a typical PRD, the next step that in any document, whether it's a BRD, whether it's a PRD, whether it's a DRD, whether it's a FRD, the next thing is, why do we want to do it? Why do we want to do it? यहां तक बात समझ में आई? The first objective statement should be very clear to the product team that I want to implement something as a suggestion so that I can grow the sign up or the paid conversion from 5% to 7%. That is what business will write, right? Yes, it's a hypothesis. It is basically a hypothesis that somebody has made that I will implement something. Basically, it is something that the product team will eventually realize. But the main objective is that I want to grow the paid conversion from 5% to 7%. Right? The next thing that after I've written the objective, now whether it will happen or it will not happen is a secondary thing. That's something the product team will figure out. But why do we want to do it is the second part. Why my objective makes sense. So the next part would be that currently we have 1,000 plus visitors visiting on our website, and out of which only 5% are captured. And the standard behavior on a typical edtech business is 10%. That's why we need to implement a chatbot feature. So पहला काम क्या होता है? What is the first line of a typical BRD? The first line of a typical BRD is that I want to do something in a business so that I can grow the paid conversion from 5% to 7%, or I want to increase my revenue from 1 million to 10 million, right? So that it's a business objective. Second point would be that why do we want to do it? Why does it make sense? यहां तक बात समझ में आई? Give me a yes in the chat. Give me a just yes in the chat so that I can understand. The first part of a business requirement document is to write the business objective. It can be growing revenue, it can be reducing cost, it can be improving profit, it can be improving the paid conversion. ये सारी चीजें business के objective हैं, right? The next part would be, can I talk about the pain points? Pain points में मैंने बोला कि यार there are 1,000 people who come to my website, out of which I only capture 5%. Can I grow it to 10%? Right? And then the third part would be the high level solution that is suggested, that the business is suggesting to the product team that why don't you implement a chatbot feature which will help me do that. Now this can be put across by the product team, this cannot be, वो उनकी मर्जी है, because the product team now understands that my objective is to grow the paid conversion and business is suggesting a chatbot feature. हाँ, मतलब ऐसा ही कुछ कर दो, साइन अप बटन को रेड कर दो. तो first part of a typical BRD is the business objective, second part is the current pain points, third part is called the high level solution that is suggested. यहां तक बात समझ में आई? Second point should be the responsibility of the measure to so Tushant is asking, second point should be the responsibility of a measure to measure the existing metrics, and second point is a suggestion by the business. A product might implement it, might not implement it, but product understands that the core goal is to improve the paid conversion. Now whether business की बात मुझे माननी है या नहीं माननी है, that's a secondary question. I can do it in some other way, right? But I need to understand the business objective. So second point is that why business is saying that it is useful, and third point is what should be the solution that we are recommending. जब ये 3 points cover हो गए, then you typically talk about the detailed flow in a BRD. Then business mentions that, okay, the first part is the objective, second point is why should we do it, third point should be some solution that we are suggesting, fourth point would be the detailed structure of the solution, that a person that we are suggesting a chatbot feature, and the detailed flow would be a user should land on the home page, then if the user spend more than 10 seconds on the page, then a pop-up should trigger, and we should ask the email ID and phone number of the user. We can typically ask what courses are you looking for, and then all of these things, once they are captured, we tell the end user that, okay, now our team will contact you, and eventually this is something that will happen. So the flow is a user comes on the website, right? Then please, not a tweet, this is very, very poor that we are trying to understand. I'm blocking you. If you write such questions, I am genuinely blocking you. Awesome. So the fourth step, the first step is objective. Second step is why it should be done, current pain points. Third step is high level solution. Fourth step is the detailed flow of the solution, that a user should land on the home page. If a user spends more than 10 seconds on the home page, a pop-up should trigger. The pop-up should ask multiple questions like your name, your email ID, and which courses are you looking for. The number of courses once you're looking for, if everybody gives the entire details, and then our objective will be put across shortly, that our executive will reach out to you shortly. Once this detailed flow is done, okay, Ankit, I will repeat back. I'm going back to the previous point. The first is the business objective, that most of the users, we should improve our business conversion from 5% to 7%. The second is the current pain points, that today right now we are only capturing 5% out of the 1,000 plus visitors which come to our website. Then the business we say that in a typical edtech business, this percentage is 10%. Then the business would say that since it's 10% and we are at 5%, this is the solution that we are suggesting. What is that solution? Is the chatbot feature that we want you to implement. Once the chatbot feature is the high level solution is given, then you give a detailed flow of the solution that a user should land on the homepage. After that, after if a user spends more than 10 seconds, we should open a chatbot in which we will ask questions like what's your name, what's your email ID, which courses are you looking for. If the user fills all the details, then we say that our executive will reach out to you shortly. Yahan tak baat clear hai? Give me a objective, why it should be done, high level solution and detailed flow. Give me a yes in the chat. Give me a yes in the chat, guys. I just need a yes in the chat and I will move forward. Awesome, awesome. बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया. Once the detailed flow is done, the next step is we will write the metrics. Which metrics will move? So business will say that the total lead conversion should actually grow from 5 to 7%, and the lead quality, which is lead to sales conversion, should grow from 10 to 11%. So the fifth step is which metrics will improve. किसी भी solution को implement करने के लिए metric पता होने चाहिए ना, which metrics should improve. So we will say that the metrics of number of people who actually fill our lead form should grow from 5 to 7%, and the number of people who fill the lead form and actually convert into a paid user should grow from 10 to 11%. So this makes it very clear that business का objective ये है, right? And then the next part, which is the sixth part. So I will quickly share my screen and like just a second. Give me a second and I will just quickly share my screen. So BRD, make it slightly bigger. Document. मेरी screen visible है? Is my screen visible? Is the Excel sheet visible? Give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no. Is my Excel sheet visible to you guys? Give me a yes or no in the chat. Awesome. So the BRD का पहला document होगा objective. Grow traffic to lead conversion from 7% to 10%. ये आ गया objective. Then आएगा current pain points. That currently our lead conversion is 6% and we want to grow it to 10%, which is the just a second. Which is the standard for edtech businesses. ठीक है? Current pain points लिख दिए. Then solution suggested. Implement a chatbot feature. Then detailed flow. That a user spends 10 seconds, then a pop-up opens, we get the details, our team will reach out to you. ये भी हो गया. Detailed flow के बाद हम लिखेंगे metrics. What are the metrics? Traffic, increase in traffic to lead conversion, increase in traffic lead to sales conversion. यहां तक बात क्लियर है? I'll just quickly move back to StreamYard and add to streams. यहां तक बात क्लियर हो गई? Detailed flow is just for the business to understand, to business to for the product to understand. Just it can be the same, it cannot be the same, right? Metrics bhi ho gaya. Then the next thing that we mention is non-goals. Did you understand? No, no, no. These metrics are given by the product people only. Yes. Sorry, the business people only. Yes. These metrics are given by the business people. Then the next part would be the non-goals. Non-goals. Non-goals basically mean that if we implement the pop-up, existing lead forms should not drop in efficiency. नॉन गोल्स का बेसिकली मतलब समझ में आया? नॉन गोल्स का मतलब होता है दैट एग्जिस्टिंग फीचर्स शुड नॉट स्टार्ट परफॉर्मिंग पुअरली. बात समझ में आई? एग्जिस्टिंग फीचर्स शुड एग्जिस्ट एज इट इज. एंड द लास्ट थिंग इज दैट इज समथिंग दैट इज कॉल्ड एज द ऑपरेशनल चेकलिस्ट, दैट वी शुड हैव प्रॉपर एनालिटिक्स. विदाउट एनालिटिक्स हाउ विल यू इंप्लीमेंट? लाइक आई जस्ट क्विकली शेयर माय स्क्रीन. गिव मी अ सेकंड. Yes. So non-goals basically mean that based on implementing this feature, right, it should not so happen that your existing features should perform poorly. That is a non-goal. And finally is the operational checklist, that there should be proper analytics to measure the metrics. There should be information given to the sales team to talk to these leads. So operational checklist basically क्या होता है? Operational checklist is what are the things which need to be done by the analytics team, the sales team. अब तुमने feature implement कर दिया. For example, you implemented the feature. If the sales team is not aware, that is something that has to be put across by the business team itself, that once the product team implements this feature, this should be communicated to the operations team, to the sales team, to the marketing team. This should be implemented. That is a part of the operational checklist. And there should be, and one more thing should be the part of the operational checklist. Operational checklist is that proper analytics should be input. If analytics is not there, you would not be able to measure the success of the solution. Yes, Pankaj, business team makes the PRD. It's like a requirement document. Yahan tak baat sabko clear hai? We started with, I'll quickly go back. We started with the business objective, the current pain points, high level solution, detailed solution, metrics, non-goals. Non-goals basically means things which should not drop because of your current feature. And last is operational checklist. Is this clear? The PM is the receiver of the BRD, but the marketing team, the sales team, those are the generator of the BRD. They are giving a requirement to the PM that this is what we want to implement. Give me a yes in the chat. Guys, yahan tak baat samajh mein aayi? 7 points should be part of the BRD. Number 1, the business objective. Second, the overall reason why we are implementing. Third, high level solution. Fourth, detailed flow. Fifth, metrics. Sixth, नॉन गोल्स. सेवेंथ, ऑपरेशनल चेकलिस्ट. यहां तक बात क्लियर हो गई? ये सब बिजनेस टीम लिखेगी, प्रोडक्ट टीम का इसका कोई रोल नहीं है. ये सब कुछ a good business team in a good company actually writes a BRD like this. Does that make sense? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. In most places, in most companies, right, the BRD is not written. But I wanted to explain it to you what a typical BRD is. That is the reason I am consistently telling you this, guys, that BRD is written by business. Awesome. Solution suggested hai. Sapna, the solution is a suggestion. It doesn't mean that product team has to implement that. Yeah. In many companies, product creates the BRD. That is correct. That is absolutely correct. But in generally, like in a company like my existing company, the largest edtech player in the world, it was the business team which created the BRD. And based on the BRD was written. Yahan tak baat clear hai? Ab main aage chalunga. Okay. So this is a typical BRD. Business presents a requirement which product understands and hence works on the same based on the product strategy. Does this make sense? It is typically the marketing team, whosoever is coming across. The marketing team, the sales team, they would suggest that they will write a one-pager document and they will mention it across to you. Awesome. Awesome. Now, what is a PRD? PRD के लिए सब लोग वेट कर रहे थे. A PRD is like a love letter to your engineering team if written comprehensively. A PRD is like a love letter to your engineering team if it's written comprehensively, right? A PRD is a document such that if the product manager does not even exist, if the product manager is not there, the business automatically understands what has to be done. So PRD के अंदर product is the value receiver, the product manager is the value receiver, and who is the value generator? It is the development team, it's the QA team, it's the design team. And who is the value distributor? It's the end user, right? A PRD is like a love letter to the engineering team if written comprehensively. Who is the value receiver here? The product is the value receiver, because I give a requirement to you, you implement it, तो value किसको मिली? मेरे को मिली ना value. I got the value, right? So the product is the value receiver here, right? Dev, QA, design are the value generator, and users are the value distributor, eventually the end user. So the definition is clear to you guys? Is this clear to you that if a product manager is not even there in the meeting, a PRD should be good enough for the dev team, the QA team, the design team to eventually put it across as a requirement and work on the same. Does that make sense? PRD में वैल्यू किसको मिलेगा? प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर को मिलेगा. कौन देगा वैल्यू? The dev, QA and design team will generate the value, and who will be the value receiver? It will be the end users who will be the value receiver. यहां तक clear है? Give me a yes. Give me a yes in the chat. Awesome. यार जल्दी जल्दी yes लिख लिया करो, तो मुझे पता चल जाता है कि तुम्हें समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है. Awesome. Amazing. Amazing. So if a PRD is written comprehensively, it should do the job of a PM even before the meeting starts. If I share my PRD with the dev team, a PM is not needed. If it's a great PRD, a PM should not be needed, right? So what typically happens is that in case of a PRD, what typically happens, a product manager first goes to the dev team, the QA team. Then, so I will quickly share my screen again. Yes, I will repeat again. Give me a second. मेरी स्क्रीन एक बार देख लेना. मैं इसको हटा रहा हूं. ठीक है. सो पीआरडी का फ्लो क्या होता है? देखो, बिजनेस राइट्स अ बीआरडी. ठीक है. दैट्स द फर्स्ट स्टेप. स्टेप 1. स्टेप 2, प्रोडक्ट receives the BRD. That's step 2. Step 3, product understands the BRD. Step 4, product writes the PRD, right? Step 5, product explains the PRD to dev, QA, design. अब जो ये वाला पार्ट है ना, the step 5, it is not needed if the step 4 is done perfectly. ये बात समझ में आई? I'll just quickly go back. If step 4 is done perfectly, step 5 is not required. That you don't need a meeting in which you will explain the PRD. If the PRD is written very, very comprehensively, step 5 is not required. Give me a yes or no in the chat that you are understanding this. Give me a yes or no in the chat. बता दो यार. एक तो 100 लोग हैं चैट पे. Congratulations. चलो. Okay. So the typical breakdown of a PRD is like this. The first thing is again the objective statement. But what is the difference between a business objective and a product objective? कोई मुझे बता सकता है? Can somebody tell me what is the difference between a business objective and a product objective? Can somebody tell me that? What is the difference between a business objective and a product objective? बताओ बताओ बताओ, आई नीड आंसर्स, आई नीड आंसर्स, बताओ बताओ. I will write na Vedant. I will explain on that thing. But I need first tell me what is the difference between a business objective and a product objective. Tushant, we will talk about that. In the end, I will keep 15 minutes. Yes, Kedar has written absolutely perfect. Business objective is far more revenue, cost, profit driven. And a product objective is far more towards the experience of the user, or the solution or the feature that you're making. Yes, बहुत बहुत यार, तुम लोग तो एकदम समझदार समझदार किस्म के लोग हो यार. मतलब बहुत बहुत तारीफ है तुम्हारी, बहुत बढ़िया, अमेजिंग. सो अब प्रोडक्ट ऑब्जेक्टिव में हमें बिजनेस की बात नहीं करनी होती, हमें प्रोडक्ट ऑब्जेक्टिव में लिखना होता है, वी हैव टू राइट व्हाट द एंड यूजर शुड डू as a feature, right? Like I've written, a single statement should be the objective, like building a whiteboard feature for the tutors and students. Like for example, I am working for a largest edtech company in the world. I want to make a whiteboard feature. Everybody understand what is whiteboard? Whiteboard is something on which students can write and you can write. So building a whiteboard feature so that students and teacher can actively engage in problem solving and thus learn better. ये बात समझ में आई? There is no business objective here. Business is a byproduct. I am writing that building a whiteboard feature such that the tutors and students can actively engage in problem solving and thus better learning. Yes, 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 absolutely. So, yahan tak baat samajh mein aayi? A product objective talks about what action should the end user do in order to effectively drive a business objective. The action is, if I implement a whiteboard feature, students and tutor can interact in the chat, and this will lead to more engagement, and more engagement as a byproduct will lead to more revenue. Simple. The product objective for the chatbot feature would be, so Nutan Kumar has asked, what is the product objective of the chatbot feature that you eventually shared? The product objective of the chatbot feature is very simple, that I should want more high quality, or I want more engaged leads on the platform to eventually interact with the chatbot and get high quality leads. High quality basically means higher in engagement, higher in time spent. So the product objective would be that implementing a chatbot feature in which the user has spent minimum 30 seconds on the website and it is a high quality lead. Nutan, does that make sense? Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Awesome. So objective, so the PRD का पहला step होता है the objective. What is the objective? A single statement for the team to understand to what to build. That is something that the first step of the PRD comes across. Then again, the why of the problem. Why should I build this feature? This should be very clear. Most of the times, unfortunately, product teams and engineering teams work in silos. And unfortunately, these two things, this lead to the fact that there is a product engineering gap. Most engineers feel that हमें कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा because हमारा end user क्या कर रहा है, मतलब we don't understand, we just have to implement it, and most product teams don't put an effort to explain it across. That's why the second part of your PRD should be, why should we do it, right? So I talked about a whiteboard feature, that we want to implement a whiteboard feature. The next step of the PRD should be the why of the problem, that a synopsis of why it adds so much value to the end user and to the business. So we explain that in our product, which is Zoom for Education, there are 3 core pillars: classes from the best instructor, active doubt solving, study from anywhere, right? First and third point are getting addressed, but active doubt solving is not getting addressed. And that is why, in order to improve the active doubt solving, we need to implement a whiteboard feature. We also will explain with references that why does the whiteboard feature make sense. So I can write that from a reference, but this is just an example, that Stanford and Harvard educators have mentioned that a class in which there is active engagement, there is 50% more effective than a class which has less active. Like for example, if I had a whiteboard feature here, you guys would have been able to solve and learn with me very, very easily, right? So the first part is the objective. Second part is the why of the problem. Why should I do it? So I mentioned that in a product which is Zoom for education, there are three things that are very important. Number one, classes from the best instructor. Second, active doubt solving. Third, study from anywhere. Unfortunately, in our product, first and third is getting addressed, second is not getting addressed, and that is why we are telling you to implement the whiteboard solution. And second thing, and I can also say that with reference data from Stanford and Harvard, it is just an example, guys. It's just an example that the study is far that your education or learning in a class is 50% more effective than asynchronous problem solving. And I will give references. So first I gave the objective. Second, I talked about why it is important with references. Then the third part is, and I have mentioned this is all the why of the problem, that it is a very strong pillar of engagement, etc., whatever. So I will in detail mention that why this problem should be solved. Now it will do two things. One, it will make the design, the engineering, the product team better understand that why it is needed to build this feature. Give me a yes or no, guys. Yes. Give me a yes or no, guys. If this is clear to you, that if we explain the why very well in our PRD, most of the engineering, design and QA teams ke question wahi khatam ho jayenge. Give me a yes in the chat if this is clear. The first is the objective, second is that why should you do this, and we give references, whatever is needed, right? Then the third part is, again, this is a product solution, a high level solution, right? Like the tutor launches a whiteboard. You can create a diagram here. Tutor launches a whiteboard, tutor selects a group of students, student join the tutor on the whiteboard, and finally student and tutor solve the problem together. It's the high level solution. ये बात समझ में आई? This is exactly the third part. After the objective and the why of the problem is explained, the third is the high level solution. Fourth, now this is very important. अब मैं बात कर रहा हूं, the fourth part, which is part of the PRD, is called a FRD. FRD basically means the functional specification, even the smallest detail of the feature, right? Like after I've written, I've started with the objective, the why, then the third part is the high level solution. The fourth part is called a functional requirement or a feature level requirement. Yahan tak baat samajh mein aayi? Feature level requirement mein you will have to go detailed that how does a teacher launch a whiteboard. The first part is teacher launches a whiteboard in the high level solution. In the FRD, which is a part of the PRD, I will write the complete steps that tutor logins into the tutor panel, selects the whiteboard, that CMS initializes the whiteboard. I will write the total proper detailed step. The tutor goes to the backend, clicks on the button shows positive signals. The button says that we are launching the whiteboard, and we do all of things in a very, very functional requirement structure. Like, try and understand what I mean by that is, अब जो मैंने high level solution में एक line लिखी थी ना, उसी को मैंने proper तरीके से explain कर दिया कि tutor panel में जाएगा, तो tutor will log in into the tutor panel, select the whiteboard from the backend. The backend initializes the whiteboard. The time taken by the backend is 2 to 3 seconds. At the same time, an initial pop-up should be shown to the students. So I am writing the complete detailed with edge cases and everything in the functional requirement. Yes, with each and every minor step. Ideally, yes, even the smallest of clicks should be mentioned. That's why I told that a PRD is like a love letter to engineering. Engineering likes that you don't miss edge cases. Give me a yes or no. How many of you have faced the wrath of engineering once you have missed the edge cases? Give me a yes or no. Jaldi batao. Yes, each and every simple step, if you can cover, you have to cover there in the FRD part of the PRD. Give me a yes or no in the chat, guys. बताओ यार, गायब हो गए लोग. Gajab. Yes. So every smallest step with edge cases you have to mention in the FRD. Amazing. Once this is done, once all the actionable side steps in the FRD, you also mention the mockups also. Mockups are done by the design team. You will also mention the mockups. Like in an FRD, like I will write it like this. Give me a second. I will just quickly add to stream. Let's assume. Like if I want to write the tutor logging the whiteboard. अब इसका अगर मुझे एक फीचर फ्लो बनाना है, I will start with tutor logs into CMS. CMS is content management service backend. Tutor clicks on the launch whiteboard button. Backend initializes the whiteboard and takes 2 to 3 seconds. Backend front end shows a pop-up to the students till then. And last line क्या होगी? Fifth line would be, here are the mockups, design of the pop-up. So यहाँ पे आप design का link भी डाल दोगे. Does that make sense? You will also put a design link also there. Does that make sense? So you will also mention the designs that are made by the design team who are making it parallelly. The fifth part, after the designs and the FRD and all the edge cases, everything is done, you mention the tracking of data. That is also a part of the PRD, that you define key events in the journey, like whiteboard start, event 1, whiteboard does not initialize, event 2, whiteboard student selected, event 3, whiteboard pen used, event 4, whiteboard stopped, event 5. So you will also mention the tracking of data as part of the PRD. Give me a yes or no if this is clear to you guys. Give me a yes or no if this is clear to you guys. So the first step is objective, second is why, third is high level solution, fourth is the feature level solution. That's why it takes time to write a PRD. Then the fifth part is tracking of data. You will mention events for tracking each and every button that is happening on the PRD. Does that make sense? You will write about, if somebody clicks on the whiteboard, there should be an event that should get fired. And these are product analytics events, like which are part of mix panel, clever tap, or something that the user is doing. You should be able to track it. Does that make sense? So you have to mention all of those, like event 1, event 2, event 3, all steps in the user journey should be mentioned in the tracking of data. Yes, ये live YouTube पे होगा. Vishal is asking whether this live will be there. Yes, you will have to mention and also mention where the tools are tracked, such as Clever Tap, Mix Panel, Amplitude. Wherever these tools are tracked, all of those things should also be mentioned in the PRD, right? Once this is done, then the next thing comes, the metrics to track. What are the metrics that you have to track? The metrics to track will be that here you will talk about the baseline metrics, because now these are not revenue. You cannot write revenue should increase. No, you are not affecting revenue here. You are affecting the watch time. That engagement is increasing. So number of people who attend the live class and complete the live class, their percentage should grow up. So in a PRD, you don't mention revenue metrics unless it's a revenue feature. You mention those metrics which the feature is directly impacting. A whiteboard feature is not impacting revenue. No. In FRD, you don't have to. Objective is written once, Sapna. So Sapna is asking that in feature level detail, do we have to mention the objective? No, you don't have to. That is only a part of the core objective. Feature level is like a complete deep down with edge cases so that engineering can better understand, right? The fifth part is the metrics to track. The metrics should be the direct metrics which should get tracked from the from the particular feature that you're developing. Here, in case of whiteboard, my percentage of time spent by the users should grow up. So watch time percentages is growing up, student engagement rate is also growing up, right? That is something that I will write. ये गलती मत कर देना कि बोलोगे कि revenue will grow by $1 million. वो कैसे ग्रो करेगा? वो तो तुम्हारे कंट्रोल में ही नहीं है. It's not under your control. So you have to write about the thing which can be grow, which can actually grow. So you only write about those metrics which you directly influence. Is this clear to you guys? Give me a yes or no. You only write about the metrics in the PRD which you directly influence as a product manager. Give me a yes or no. बताओ बताओ बताओ. Yes. It is tracked by the PM team. So Arpit is writing whether these metrics are tracked by the engineering team. Yeah. No, this is tracked by the product team in tools like CleverTap, Mixpanel, Amplitude. These are tools in which you track all of these metrics. Awesome. Awesome. Now, the last part of your PRD would be questions, if any. You open the PRD and make a section called questions in which your design, QA, etc., all of these teams can ask your questions, right? Like there can be a question, what will happen if a student on whiteboard is not responsive for 10 seconds? So you will write it in as a question section in which all of your users would be able to see the different parts of basically if they have any question in the PRD they can write and the product manager can answer. Make sense? What will be the North Star metric? बोला ना watch time है. Gary Gamer पहले तो नाम बहुत अमेजिंग है यार तेरा. Gary Gamer. ठीक है. So Gamer Gary, the North Star metric is the watch time, the metric that you directly influence, right? So and the last part of the PRD is the questions if there are any. And these are the questions that the engineering, QA, etc. can ask and you can answer them in the PRD itself. इससे क्या होगा जब सारे questions भी खत्म हो गए ना, the day your product actually comes out, when you discuss it with engineering, everything is clear. You have given the objective, you have given why it makes sense, you have talked about the high level solution, you have given the feature level detail of every solution, you have given the designs, you have given the metrics, you have given the, and after that also you are saying if there are any questions, answer. People can ask those questions and you can answer them, right? So the last part is I want to show you one particular newsletter, and this PPT I will share in the video link itself. There is a newsletter that you can effectively put across. Just a second. I want to show you one more interesting thing. Add to stream. Lenny's newsletter में PRD का एक बहुत अच्छा example दिया हुआ है. I want to just show you those things. Give me a second. This is a very good example of a PRD. See, the project name, the problem alignment, which is the high level objective, high level approach, narrative. Narrative is the same thing as what I had told you. The feature level detail, the non-goals, the key features, key flows. You can actually check it out. I will put the link in the drive itself. I will put it in the lecture itself. Give me a second. Yeah. That is part of the operational checklist. So operational checklist भी तुम कई बार डाल सकते हो अपने PRD में, but what you have to fundamentally understand is this should be good enough. Yeah. That is also, again, trade-offs you can also put as part of the operational checklist. It is most of the time it's not needed, but you can put it across. It's a good thing to mention the pros and cons also. It's a good thing. You can do that. ठीक है. अब आज के लिए मैं इस PPT को भी मैं share कर दूंगा. I will put it in the video link description and you can go through it. But this is where we stop today's live. I hope you really enjoyed. I hope you really enjoyed the live. Give me feedback. Give me a yes or no. आज हमने cover किया कि PRD कैसे बनती है. Give me a yes or no if you enjoyed the live today. And please like the video as much as possible. I hope this was and one very interesting request. जिसने भी लिखा है, please put it on LinkedIn. Writing on LinkedIn is the best thing ever. Please put out your learnings from the video, tag me and put it across what you learned from the video. Please, please, please. And we will consistently do, every Sunday we will do these sessions. I will write a live PRD. So Jitendra is saying, write a live PRD in the next session. I will write a live PRD. Please talk about the learnings from this session, like this video as much as possible. And thank you very much for taking out the time. I am super, super happy. And we will do these sessions every Sunday. Another thing that I'm going to announce is that in June, I'm starting my own cohort with only 50 people. 50 people I will start with. And those 50 people I will personally mentor, and I will personally mentor and help them get into the product role. So please, please, I am soon launch, and the details of the cohort will also be shared in some time with you guys. Yes. I will do a live on that also. So you mentioned what are the lives, but please put your learnings on LinkedIn and also be aware that every Sunday I'm going to do this live. बीच में कभी कोई संडे मिस हो गया तो हो गया, but overall every Sunday we will try to make a part of the live. And the last thing that I want you to put, share your learnings on LinkedIn, like this video, tag that across. And another thing that I'm saying, the last thing, that I'm soon going to start my cohort in the first week of June, mostly first or second week of June, in which I'll take 50 people to move into a product role. Thank you very much for taking out the time, and bye bye. Take care. Awesome. Yes, we will have a session next Sunday also. Awesome. Amazing. Bye bye.